Good day, podcast community. We got a special guest on our show this morning. It's a mother-daughter business. And so when you have family businesses, there's always a story behind those businesses. So, Sherry, tell our viewers who you are, what you do, and who you serve, and then we'll get into our podcast.
Okay, great. So yes, my name is Sherry Haberman. My daughter Michelle and I are the brains behind My Great Bookkeeper. We serve businesses that are ready to turn their books over to professionals. We are both certified QuickBooks professionals. I'm sorry, Pete. What else did you want me to talk
Yeah,
about?
that's good. That's good.
That's good.
I
Good
think
enough.
that's good. So when you were kind of talking to Michelle back when you're putting this together, what
Mhm.
was kind of the conversation so our viewers can kind of understand the origin of businesses, especially family businesses?
Yeah, so this was really interesting. Um, I retired 3 years ago, and I just decided I needed to have a little bit of something to fill my time. Remote bookkeeping seemed like a great opportunity because I can I can control my flow and the amount of time I spend with the number of clients I have. So I took a course on how to start a bookkeeping business, and I was telling Michelle about it. Michelle is in the film and television business. And in between film shoots, she has time on her hands. I was finding time on my hands in retirement. So I was telling her about this course. Turns out I didn't know this, but when she first started working after college, she was working in a theater management company and she was office manager and doing their bookkeeping. And she absolutely loved that part of her job. So
Hmm.
got her certified, and we found out that if we were partners in the business, we could do things. She was going to have access to all the training that I had to become certified. So it was a surprise to me. She's always been good at math. Both of us have been. Yeah, so it was just crazy that it just worked out this way. And so we've set the business up in the name, everything is in the name of the business, not either one of our names, so that if I decide to step away and just continue traveling,
Hmm.
all she has to do is continue helping all the clients.
Ooh, I love it. So
Mhm.
tell me, because I
I
lived in a senior facility for almost a couple years, and the average age was well over 80, and it was 55 and older. I didn't know that until I moved in. But I found out from, just being that close to the senior living community that when people retire, they only live 2 years because they lose their connections, they lose their purpose, they kind of lose that environment to grow, to keep growing. We always need to be challenged. So when 3 years ago, I love it that you said that. I mean, that's just crazy good. So, like, when you retired, what was that first year like?
It was crazy. I was a workaholic when I was working. Um, I didn't consider myself that because I loved my job. And when you love your job, it doesn't matter how many hours a day you work. But I did work long hours. And when I retired, everybody thought I was going to have a terrible time retiring, that it was very difficult for me. It was not. My husband Mike and I traveled a lot in the first 3 years. Uh,
Mhm.
my my job after retirement became planning all of our retirement travel.
Hmm.
This year, we are staying within the U.S. because we're chasing the baseball stadiums. So we're going to see all the rest of the baseball stadiums that we need to see. But that also gave me more time because we weren't going on international travel. So it gave me a little bit more time. And when I have time on my hands, I tend to try to find things to fill my time. And I've been kind of looking around for ideas of things that I could do remotely.
Mhm.
Because Mike is also partially handicapped. He has Parkinson's disease.
Mhm.
So, I can't go outside the home to work anyway. So this just turned out to be a great opportunity for me. And I love to learn. Love learning new things. So even when we were traveling internationally, I would always go on Duolingo and I would learn the language of the whatever country we're going to be going to. So it's always great to keep your mind going and learning.
Yeah, it is. So I know Mike because we share the same
Mhm.
time at our physical therapist. So Mike was diagnosed with Parkinson. Like, what was that like for you as a spouse having
Well, in the
to?
beginning, he wasn't having as many issues as he has now. Of course, the physical therapy has really, really helped him. But
Mhm,
well, as a spouse, I mean, it was just another step in our journey together. For better, for worse, for sure. But
mhm,
it's not been terribly difficult for me. It's difficult to see him struggle,
mhm,
but um, we made it through, and I mean, we've continued to travel. He's a real trooper, and it's not keeping us down. We just had a great trip. I thought it was going to be more difficult for him because it was a quick 5 or 6 day trip with several flights in between, and I thought it was going to be difficult for him, but he did great. It was awesome.
mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's we often get life throws us those
Yeah.
adversities, things, and we
Mhm.
adapting to those is just, we have to learn how to, and that's
Right. It is
difficult.
one of the things that I am glad about Michelle and I being in this business together for sure, because it is something that could pull me away from the business sooner than I might have wanted to step away from it, for example.
Mhm,
So, if I'm finding that I have fewer and fewer hours, for example, just even in this last couple of months, he's really relying on me more to do driving. So, I have to take him to all of his appointments, and he has physical therapy 4 days a week. So
mhm.
that is pulling away from my time that I thought was going to be free.
What let's go to your visiting the ballparks. My son-in-law,
Sure.
no, my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law has 3 more to go to.
Oh,
So when
yeah.
start visiting, baseball parks? Because I think it's a cool idea.
Why do we start?
Yeah, when did you start? And I'll ask you
This
another.
is this has been you 20 plus years, because the
Okay.
way I the way I started, and it wasn't an intentional start to go to visit them all, but we love baseball. Always have. From when I was a young child, I remember watching the Boston Red Sox in my grandmother's house.
Mhm,
But when I was traveling, I traveled a lot. I'm a Delta Million Miler. That tells you how much I traveled while I was working. But
mhm,
anytime I was in a city that had baseball and it was baseball season, I always tried to get colleagues to go to the ball games with me, because the type of job I was on a software implementation team, and we were there for weeks at a time. So I would always try to get to the ball games, and I had started collecting pins for my hat,
mhm,
and you know, when we retired, I had a count on how many more I needed, and Mike needed three more than me, and three more. They needed four more than me, and yeah, so we just decided in retirement that we should try to finish them up. And like I said, the first 3 years we did mostly international travel, but this year we decided to focus on. We actually did right before retirement. We hit a couple of them, and then right after we retired, like the next month, we hit four at one time on a trip. But then we started the international travel in 2022, and this year we decided to focus to make sure we could get them all done, and we will by August 24th.
That's interesting you say that because, being software implementation, you are going to different cities. My,
Yeah.
brother-in-law travels and he gets with teams in different cities. He does the same thing. It's kind of that bonding time to go,
Mhm.
after 5 o'clock and just get
Yeah.
to know people without just
Right.
sitting in your hotel room watching TV.
Mhm.
You're
Yeah.
doing something exciting, exploring something different, and
For sure.
experiencing life with people that are a little bit more relaxed when it's after 5.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. And
So tell
we were a very
viewers, I
close knit
love the
team.
fact say that, what
I said we
share?
were a very close knit team.
Oh, good. Well, I'm sure it had a lot to do with you. So
No.
and I know through my time at PT, just talking to you when you're there and stuff. So tell me, like, for our viewers that haven't like adopted, I think it's so cool to visit different ballparks.
Mhm.
What park would you say has been y'all's favorite? If you have different favorites, could you share with our viewers that? And
So far, our top park has been San Francisco, Oracle Park. It's just a beautiful venue. When I was working, I was a Salesforce.com administrator for my company. So I was I administered the site for the company. If anybody's familiar with Salesforce, it's a customer relationship management tool. Salesforce has a conference in San Francisco every year. So we used to go frequently. We've been
Mhm,
at Oracle Park a couple of times, but the fun thing about that is that if anybody knows San Francisco and that park, McCovey Cove is outside the park, and people into the cove with their boats and canoes and kayaks. And if home runs come into McCovey Cove, they scramble to go get that ball. Well, we
mhm.
happened to be one time that we were in San Francisco. We happened to be on a yacht on one of our the Salesforce vendors had a yacht that I got invited to, and Mike and I were there when a home run was hit into McCovey Cove, like 3 feet from the yacht. It was so cool. But anyway, we loved the park though when we went to it. It was a great park, just a beautiful park.
Yep.
But I'll tell you what, we were in Minneapolis last weekend, and that park was amazing. The people, just the people, every
Mhm.
single person we met was so nice and kind, and we just really had a great time, great experience there for sure. Even though the Twins lost, it was a shame, but that's okay.
I went with my girl when we went on vacation to San Francisco. It was Candlestick Park, so we went many
Yes.
years ago. But I do know, that bay. They're always out there in the boats trying to get the home
Hmm.
runs. It is a special kind of. I mean, the environment just to see everything from
Yeah,
the stadium
yeah, it's
is.
really cool.
Yeah, I would say that's my favorite too.
My
So,
second oh,
yeah,
my second my I'll just quickly. My second favorite is Pittsburgh because for the view. The second favorite for the view is Pittsburgh, and we're going there next this later this month now that it's July. Yeah, in about 3 weeks. Um, and that one I wanted to do as a night game because that's one that I have been to before, but Mike has not. And
mhm.
the night view there is just incredible.
Wow. What do you think, like somebody starting out? Walk our viewers through, like, do you use StubHub? How do you initiate the tickets and getting the seats you guys want? Is that something that you have a system with and you?
Oh, you mean the seats in the ballpark?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, typically what I do, I mean, I'll go directly to the MLB website and
Hmm.
go to that ballpark's site for the tickets.
Mhm.
Um, and especially now that because now Mike's handicapped, we're looking for handicap accessible seating, and you can usually get them online. And for the teams that we have left, other than the last one we're going to go visit, uh, most of them are not teams that sell out their park.
Mhm.
We've been to Fenway and Wrigley and the teams that regularly sell out their stadiums. So it's usually pretty easy to get them if you go directly to the website for the
Mhm.
team, and it's cheaper that way. I mean, you go to StubHub and you're looking at inflated prices. So always go directly there. And if I can't get seats that I think are going to be accessible for Mike, then I'll call them. I'll call the box office of that team directly.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's
And we've
good.
had great seats. We had terrific seats for the Twins game. We were in the third level, but right behind home plate.
Hmm.
And it was a great view for there. I mean, and then you've got the beautiful view, out in front of you. I mean, it was really, really nice and reasonable seats for the Twins.
That's good. What do you like? We're all creatures of habits and we do things.
Mm.
Um, do you guys have a habit of what you order when you get there, or is there anything that you've created, kind of like a custom or just a regular thing you like to do when you're at the ballpark?
Well, so the first thing I always have to do is I have to get the pin for my hat.
Hmm.
So I um, have to get a pin for my hat. I only have 3 more stadiums left.
Mhm.
And this year, since we're doing, I think we have 9 that we're doing this particular year.
Mhm.
Mike has a hat and he now has 4 pins on it and he has 5 more to go. So yeah, so I'm
Okay.
getting 2 pins now, 1 for each of
Yeah.
us. And we have jerseys that Mike doesn't know this. I have baseball patches that I'm having sewn on the back of our jerseys. So when we go to the last game, we'll have a jersey that has all 30 baseball stadium patches on
Hey, that is so cool. Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
the
cool.
story behind each one of those patches,
Mhm.
kind of it's just a personal thing. And I love how people do personalize those experiences.
Yeah.
So when it
So cool.
comes to like other activities,
Mhm.
when you're growing up, I don't know Michelle, but I do know when through email she was taking care of a friend that got in a
Yes.
car accident.
Mhm.
And you know, friendships are so valuable,
Oh,
and when
yeah.
people drop everything just to be with a friend, was she like that growing up, or did she
Michelle, I would say Michelle is the best person you could have as a friend. If you can be a friend to Michelle, she'll do anything for you. And she is a wonderful friend. She's a
Mhm,
wonderful person. I mean, it amazes me sometimes. I mean, just how kind she is to everyone she meets.
mhm.
But yeah, when she's a terrific friend. She always remembers her friends' birthdays. Um, just and she works at the group dynamics when she's in her group of friends.
Yeah,
It's she's a great friend to have. you know can't say enough about that. She's really sweet.
it is. That's so good because in today's world, we're so busy that we forget about the relationships that really
Mhm.
give us life. And
Yeah.
they say social media. Well, I heard a person and he was sharing on the podcast. There's no such thing as social media. It's just media. Because if we are depending on our social part, then
Yeah.
you don't get that. You get it by
Mhm.
spending time with people, learning
Right.
and growing with people. And
Mhm.
sometimes we get lulled into the mindset of TikTok and all the things out there.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
know we're hours of consuming media, but we haven't called our mom. We haven't
Right. Right.
reached out to our family member, but we've spent
Mhm.
hours, and then we say to ourselves, "Oh, I'm busy," but we're busy doing what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
what are we doing?
Yeah.
Yes. That
So
is
what
something that Michelle is not interested in. She
Really?
is not a social media person. I mean, she's there,
Yeah.
but you definitely won't see her on Facebook. You'll see her on Instagram. She posts
Uh,
pictures occasionally, but Michelle is, like I said, she's in film and TV. She's always been one who loves that.
yeah.
She, it's all about film, TV, podcasts. When she's, working around her house, she's always got a podcast going. Um, or, she's watching old movies or, more recent movies and TVs. She's usually our source of finding out what's the best thing to watch on TV these days.
Yeah, 'cause that's beautiful. I had a person explain to me because I haven't been on social in 3.5 years, and after my stroke, I wanted to give my brain a rest
Mhm.
because I did it when social media came out, so I was on there quite a bit
Mhm.
because of
Mhm.
business. But this is what the person shared, that the average person spends between 2 and 3 hours on social media, and let's just call it media. But what happens is you're making a decision to like it, comment, or share it. So you're giving your brain all this judgment. And we wonder,
Mhm.
like today, the mental illness is alive and well in America because if we don't live our life and we choose to consume other people's life, we lose
Mhm.
that aliveness that is so
Right.
present in
Right.
human connection. I have felt like free as a bird to not be on the social
Yeah,
platform.
yeah, right.
Having to decide, do I like it? Do I comment? Do I share it? Give my brain a rest and a rejuvenation.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I love that somebody consciously, without going through a stroke,
Yes,
consciously makes a
yes,
decision
yeah,
that that's not how she's gonna live her life, consuming other people's life, because we have our
right.
own.
Exactly
So what would
right.
you say is the most enjoyable thing? I mean, obviously, mother-daughter, you have a close relationship, but
Mhm.
working with your daughter is different than, having a daughter.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
were there
sure.
were there anything you could share with our viewers? Like, what do you like about it, and what are
Mhm.
something that is challenged you to grow more in that different relationship of business daughter relationship versus mom
Oh,
and
boy.
daughter? Yeah.
Well, so far we love working together. It
Mhm.
turns out that we work well together. Interestingly, our hobby together is that we work logic puzzles together. So,
Ah,
we have books of logic puzzles that we do, and so, working together to solve problems and to solve, to do the puzzles, it
yeah.
has always been it's good. And we always work, previously we worked jigsaw puzzles together and stuff like that. But as far as work is concerned, of course, we're both, we work remotely. We don't generally have to be together when we're working. So,
Right.
we work over the phone. Um, there haven't really, so far, there have not really been any big challenges. Right now, we are experiencing a little bit of a challenge because she's having to spend so much time with her friend at the hospital.
Mhm.
Um, but it's still okay because the way the business is structured is I'm just taking the ball right now and running with it. Her friend is going to be released from rehab next week. We are pretty sure,
Mhm.
and she's going to have more time. So got a new potential client that I'm going to have her reach out to because it happens to be somebody that lives near her.
Mhm.
So yeah, but no big challenges yet.
Yeah.
We haven't had any major areas where we disagree with each other.
Mhm.
So because we're still learning about having a bookkeeping business,
Yeah.
and so we're both learning about that, and we have similar learning styles. So
Mhm.
it's working out pretty good so far.
That's beautiful. I love that because I always share, like, there's a local business mindset. I always bring it up, B&I. I mean, when
Mhm.
B&I started many, many, many years ago, there wasn't a digital global business. It was
Mhm.
all local. The real estate agent, the bookkeeper, the CPA, the electrician, the HVAC, they all work together. But what has changed dramatically is the world's now global. You can work
Mhm.
anywhere you want. You can do anything from where you want, as long as you have an
Yes.
internet connection. How do you look at the future with so much emphasis on the global digital world? Do you, like, look at it as a great opportunity or a great discovery of just many opportunities? Do you often think about it and talk with Michelle about, the flexibility that you have?
Well, it is actually one of the things that drew us to this business in particular, because since it is digital, we can handle clients from anywhere. Now we do focus only on the U.S. We're not
Yeah,
global, and we
yeah.
won't be
No,
global just
no,
because
and I tell
yeah,
yeah, I agree.
yeah,
Mhm.
mainly because the QuickBooks that we serve and that we provide are, it's a US based company and a US based version of the company, of the software. So, but still, it gives us the opportunity to handle bookkeeping clients anywhere in the country. It doesn't have to be just in Atlanta.
Yes. Yeah, I love that because my partner's Canadian, and a lot of his whole life was CPA, bookkeeping, numbers, and then he had a car accident and he couldn't practice that anymore. So he shifted to a different different way that he was delivering value, which was marketing part. But all his friends up there in Canada are Canadian bookkeepers, Canadian CPA, because but they don't transfer down here because the systems are completely different. You can't
Mhm.
use the same principles from Canada to the US and vice versa.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you think, like when you look at your daily to do, like how do you approach, like, when do you work? When do you spend time with Mike? When do are you, you're going obviously to PT Solutions 4 days a week. How do you
Yeah.
plan your week?
So for me, the early morning is best for me because Mike tends to sleep late. We tend to stay up late at night, and he sleeps late in the morning, and he needs more sleep than I do. So
Mhm,
I tend to get up earlier in the morning, and I generally work in the morning time. Again, that's one thing about bookkeeping is it can be done anytime. Doesn't have, in most cases, it doesn't even have to be done every single day for every client.
mhm,
So, which is another thing that attracted me to it. It's very, very flexible in terms of the timing and when the work has to be done. End of month, yes. I mean, right now, or beginning of the month, like right now, certainly want to provide my clients with some beginning of the month reports. And this is, halfway through the year. So we can get some good P&Ls and balance sheet information for, mid-year. But other than that, yeah, morning time is really the best for me, or even on weekends, of course,
mhm.
because he doesn't have PT on the weekends. So, yeah, so I can do work on the weekends. And Michelle, when she is in film and TV, she works 12, 14 hours a day when she's on a film set.
Mhm.
But she doesn't typically have to work on the weekend. So she felt like, she would have time on weekends to be able to serve clients.
Yeah,
So yeah,
that's
it's
good.
pretty good.
Let me go back to Salesforce because I use Salesforce with two different companies, and it's
Okay.
over probably, I don't know, 20, maybe 20 years. I don't know how long Salesforce has been out there,
It's
but
been, I started it in 2010. So it's been
wow,
15. Yeah,
35
yeah.
years.
Huh?
No, no,
It was
2010,
2010. Yeah, 15
15
years ago.
years. Okay, yeah, I was like, my math
Yeah,
wasn't right. You can see
it
why
was
I'm not a
2010.
bookkeeper.
Yeah, it was
So,
2010.
yeah, I
Seems like
love
it's been longer than that, but I guess it hasn't.
yeah, that's it's fascinating because I was with like companies that implemented it, and
Mhm.
man, you talk about teaching an all old dog new tricks.
Oh,
I was fighting the older people to adapt to the newer
mhm.
technology, and I was with US Foods when they were bought by a
Uh-huh.
private equity, and we're in a meeting, and we're as managers, and I remember the president said, he basically said, "I don't care what they do or the value, if they don't get on, our CRM, they're not going to be around because we are moving into a different era and we got to have technology innovation driving it. And if somebody wants to hold on to their paper and their old ways,
Mhm, mhm.
relevant as we move
Yeah.
forward." So I've watched, I think his name is Benioff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Mark Benioff.
Okay, so I've
Yeah.
watched him, I've studied him, and AI, had been coming in for the last few years, and
Mhm.
he's implemented that into Salesforce probably the
Yes, he
last
is.
few years. So what do you say? I mean, because AI is going to turn the world upside down.
Wow, yes.
What do you think from just, you're 3 years removed from, being really hands-on with the software,
Sure.
and the future's coming, there's going to be
Mhm,
dramatic change. From your
mhm.
eye, share with our viewers what you kind of see and what you've read, what you've talked about, what you've seen. What do you see? What could you tell our viewers that would be helpful for them getting ready for this new era?
Well, you certainly have to be flexible because, it's coming. I mean, there's no two ways about it. I learned about it. I'm a Chat GPT fan, I have to say. But I mean, sometimes you have to take what AI gives you with a grain of salt. You still have to have some knowledge behind,
Yes.
you still have to know. I have to know bookkeeping to know if that AI response is correct, for example. And it's not always 100%, or you need to dig deeper. So you still need to have the basic knowledge to be able to use it effectively. But if you have that knowledge, it can do some amazing things for you. Um, but again, you have to be adaptable. You have to be flexible and realize that it is coming, and then just, try to work with it.
I love that. I love I mean, I always I'm in a small group with younger people, and we have a free program for our youth because you and I have more of life experiences. We have more references of because life teaches you lessons, but when
Sure.
you're 20 years old, you only have that 20, maybe 10, 20 years
Mhm.
of life lessons, and we're about to flip the world upside down. And
Yeah,
then you
yeah,
have points of reference to go back to. You certainly have so much more than most when it
yeah.
comes to technology and implementing. When you're part of a implementation team, you're always coming up against people that have resistance because
Oh, yeah, for sure.
to change, and
Mhm.
people don't like change. I mean, so the adapting, I love what you said because I'm trying to think if I can get this up because I just what you said was so profound. I want to let our viewers know one thing before we wind down. I'm going to ask you a question right before. Yes, okay, here we go. So our viewers, we
Yeah.
call activate your future self. If you go to pkme.me/youth, we offer a free digital coaching course for them. It's 12 sessions. Once they go through half of it, it activates a group of 20 people. So you
Ah,
have 10 adults, 5 veterans, and 5 youth. So they get a perspective from people that have been down the road a little bit more
oh, that's
because
great.
you do not want to go into this change by yourself. You
Mm-mm,
need
mm-mm.
people like you and me who have a better perspective. So if they just
Mhm.
go there, they can get access to the course. As soon as you get halfway through the course, you get free live group coaching. So we want to encourage anybody out there. We say under 30, but I mean that's our mark. But people that don't have enough life experiences to really adapt to the change.
Mhm.
So let me go back
Awesome.
to I got to go back to where I put your information. Whenever I change banners, it's like, oh, geez, how am I going to get back to where I was? So let me ask you a question while I find your information. Um, what it's kind of reversed, and we'll put your information up in a second as soon as I can find it. Hold on here. Maybe I can't. Darn. Oh man, I was in a different podcast. So, what would be the one thing that you would want our viewers to take home from our time on this podcast?
I would say keep learning, keep and keep yourself open to learning new things, exploring new things, being adventurous, um, and just living life and enjoying. Try to find something that you enjoy doing, because like I said, if you enjoy your work, they say you'll never work another day in your life as long as you love what you do. So I did love my career when I had it. In fact, I waited until age 70 to retire because I was working from home. I loved my job. It was wonderful. So yeah, just keep learning and be flexible.
Awesome. That is so good. I'm not really good at multitasking, so if the listeners can see me multitask, you can say I'm so, but I was able to cut and paste. Okay.
There
So
we go.
so tell our viewers, for the people who are listening by audio and they're not watching, how can they get a hold of Sherry?
So, yes, so our business is mygreatbookkeeper.com. And that's the best way. The website includes our phone numbers, our email addresses. That's probably the best way to reach out to us.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sherry. I
All right.
appreciate you being with us and taking the time to share
Uh,
your perspective of just, I love it, your retirement perspective, visiting
mhm,
new ballparks and joining forces with your daughter. That
mhm.
just rocks. I love it. So
Well,
thank
thank you, Pete. Thank you for having me. We really appreciate having the opportunity to chat with everybody.
Okay, now I'm
Awesome.
going to give you a challenge.
Okay.
Always want to be influential. So I want you to be influential with Michelle when the
Okay.
time's right. I'd love to have her
Okay.
on the podcast so she can
Okay,
share
great.
her perspective of
Yeah,
really
I think it'd be great.
with her
Yeah,
mom, and I think that would be cool when the time
that'd
is
be
right.
awesome.
So thank you so much, Sherry. We
All right.
appreciate it.
Thank you, Pete. Take care. Have a great rest of your day.